Hello, welcome to Have a Tea with me. My name is Chris. This channel is Lesson Jigsaw. We are here for English language conversation. So if you want to practice speaking English, this is the place for you. I've just put a link in the chat in the comments, and if you would like to participate, just click on that link and you can come in and have a chat. Simple as that. We can chat about whatever you prefer to chat about, whatever you like. It's up to you. We are here every day, Monday to Friday at 12 o'clock Universal Time, which is round about now. And we're here for a conversation, for a chat. So if you would like to participate, just click on that. It is Wednesday. It is Wednesday in most places of the world currently. It is Wednesday, the 23rd of February, 2022. I know yesterday was everyone was loving the date, the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022, because you put it in reverse and there's like a symmetrical sort of thing about it. I'm not sure. Personally, for me, I didn't get anything particularly notable or special from the day. It's hard. Maybe I missed something, or there was something, and I was just not aware of it. That could possibly be the case. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So I hope you had a great day yesterday, and I hope you're having a great day today. Your question may be, I don't speak English very well, or I'm not really confident speaking English, or I don't have enough vocabulary, or I make a lot of mistakes. No problem. No problem for anything. This is why we're here, in fact, is to try and help you gain more confidence, to gain more practice speaking, more confident, more practice with conversations and just chatting and that sort of stuff. So we can chat about particular things, or we can chat about if you want to practice particular situations and things like that, we can do that as well. But it is basically for you to try and have the opportunity to practice, and that's sort of about it. I do think it is important to practice writing, practice speaking, the production of the language. Particularly if you're a language learner, it's a great thing when you're using the things that you've read or the things that you've heard. If you could then put that into an interaction, or you can use some of the words that you've received. So maybe you've got a list of 100 words or a book, and there's like thousands of words. Maybe pick 3 or 4 of them, and you can come on and practice. We can practice a story, make up a story, or talk about what happened yesterday, what's happening today, what we do in general, talk about things for the future. So we can try and talk about those things in different ways. And that's all it is. That's all it is. Just practicing the language that you have, practicing the fluency of delivering that message, checking the impression that you're giving when you're delivering the message to see how it's interpreted. And that can be different for lots of people. But then also looking for alternatives and different ways of saying things. Maybe something is not incorrect to say, but there are perhaps more common ways to say things. And so it's not necessarily changing what you're saying. It's just giving you a different way, an alternative of saying something. Maybe you'll be speaking better than me, no doubt. My tongue is tied today, it seems. So we are here every day, Monday to Friday, 12 o'clock Universal Time. You are welcome to join us. This is an open class. As I say, just click on the link you see in the chat and in the comments. Also, if now is not a good time, you're watching this on the replay, and if you are, hello. You can send us an email, chatonlessonjigsaw@gmail.com, and send us a message, and we can see if we can find a time that's good for both of us to practice. So there's that option as well. So you will see that email address scrolling across the bottom of the page as this class continues. This, I guess it does need your participation, doesn't it? Because otherwise it's just me talking. And that's okay, I guess. But, it's the interaction that makes the difference. Like normal, isn't it? It's like anywhere you want the interaction. That makes a difference if you're interacting with other people, or if you're just doing something by yourself. It's a different thing. That's I guess that's in the last few years. It's people been maybe we took some things for granted. Maybe we took some things for granted. Let's get that down, or like that. Maybe we took some things for granted. So basically, we just assume things are going to be the way they are, because that's the way things are. They are the way they are, and that's how they're always going to be. Maybe, maybe it's and that could be a bit of a problem, can't it? Because then we just assume, and then we get shocked. And it it hurts us then sometimes. But anyway. Oh, dearie me. So Wednesday, halfway through the week, what do they call it? Hump day. Hump day is what a lot of people like to call the Wednesday, middle of the week. So of course it depends on when your week is. Maybe your weekend is Saturday, Sunday. Maybe it's Friday, Saturday, or maybe you have different sort of shifts. Maybe you work from Thursday to Tuesday, and you have Wednesday. Well, I don't know. Maybe Tuesday and Wednesday off, or something. You know what I mean. Like you have a different sort of shift pattern, and that influences how or when your weekend is. So there's different benefits, I guess. If you want to go to the bank or something, or get some admin done, it can be very useful, because you don't have to rush around, and you can just do it relaxed on a particular day, hopefully when there are less queues. And whereas if you're working, say, Monday to Friday, you only have free time then, for a whole day, when lots of places are closed. So when lots of people go shopping for food and that sort of thing, do their weekly shopping. Could be like that. It could be like that. So here we are. Have a tea with me. We're going to. Okay, I didn't have this prepared. We're gonna look at some while we're waiting. We're gonna look at a photo and chat about a photo, and just consider what we will about this photo, because sometimes a photo or an image of some sort can be a good prompt for conversation, and so I'm gonna prompt myself since I'm the only one here. Well, that tea is a bit on the warm side today, just from that particular sip, but it's okay, just borderline. That tea is borderline, temperature-wise. I better put that on the screen. Oops. I'll put that on the screen so you can see. Let me just do that. Okay. So that tea is borderline. It's just okay. So here I'm talking, I better put that. I'm talking in terms of temperature. So that tea is borderline, it's just okay. Talking in terms of temperature. I guess really because I'm writing, I guess I'm writing the full sentence. But I wouldn't say I'm talking, really, would I? Like normally speaking. So that tea is borderline, it's just okay in terms of temperature. So that's the clarity I'm giving. Because, so when I'm saying in terms of temperature, I didn't spell that right, did I? Temperature. Yes, because of course we could be talking about the quality of the tea bag, I suppose, and also the quality of the flavor, how we enjoy the flavor. Maybe if we put any additives in there, maybe use some condiments, maybe we put some sugar in there or something, or put some spices or something in there, and that could affect the tea as well. But when I'm talking about borderline, it's like, think of the border, like the line of the border between countries is where we often associate it. But also like for properties as well, like if you have a house or something, there's a line on the map anyway. Sometimes that's where people put the fence. They put the fence for a property around where the borderline is on the map. So when we say it's borderline, it's on the edge, meaning that it's between too hot and too cold. That's the borderline. So too hot or okay. And see that line there is sort of that's my borderline. If you know what I mean. So you got too hot, and then the line, that's the borderline, then it's okay. It's just on the borderline. So it is borderline, and but as every minute goes by, it gets a little bit cooler and cooler. As every minute goes by, I'll put a comma there just to break it up. It gets cooler and cooler. Yes, so every minute goes by, it gets cooler and cooler, and it becomes easier to drink for me. I know some people love, boiling hot temperatures for their hot drinks. I don't prefer hot drinks. I don't really like hot drinks. I like warm drinks. So quite often I have to wait. So I have to plan that into when I'm going to a cafe or something. I have to plan, if I know how hot the beverage is going to be, I can say, okay, well, I'm going to wait for, I'm going to have 10 minutes, or I have to I have to blow on the top to cool it down or something, or swirl it around. If I'm desperate, maybe add some cold water or something to try and mix it in. Of course, that dilutes the flavor. Adding cold water I think it does. I'm going to say it does, because dilutes the flavor of the tea. I'm writing here with the British standard of spelling, with the OU for the flavor. Because it does, doesn't it? And so I guess it's not just cold water. If I added hot water, it would dilute the flavor as well. I guess there's an optimum amount of water. Anyway, that's going a little bit too far, but it dilutes the flavor. So if you have, particularly if you've got the tea set, and then it's all sort of, you've got the amount of time, like it's been sitting, the bag's been sitting there for like 5 minutes or something, then you add more water, it does change the flavor. And then maybe, I don't know, probably you need to stir it around to mix it in. So I'm not sure if it goes in like uneven, if you can have, I'm not sure if water works like that, we have like pockets. I guess it does, because it depends how the cup is working. That's why, of course it does, because that's why you stir. That's why you stir, so you can mix it together, because you do have pockets. Okay, so there we go. This is the sort of conversation that I would have by myself. And in fact, I have had just now. Okay, it's a beautiful tea. Beautiful tea now. That's the perfect time. So we're 16 minutes in, and I poured this, I think it was 5 minutes to go. So 5 minutes before I started. So it takes 20 minutes from this size of mug. So it's not a small cup, but nevertheless, it took a bit of time to cool down from boiling. Yeah, it was boiling in the jug. So anyway, yeah, so this is Have a Tea for Me. This channel is Lesson Jigsaw. We do free and live English conversation classes. So if you want to have a chat, all you got to do is click the link in the comments or in the chat, and we can speak. We'll say chat, we can speak. You can come through and we can speak. And speak in English. Practice your English language conversation skills. And we don't have to talk about tea, of course. That's just me talking in the meantime. Okay, so we're going to look at this picture, and as I like to remind, when we're, I guess, talking about anything, in terms of any conversation, really, we're answering questions, even if there aren't any questions to answer. Whatever you say is an answer to a question. So that whatever that answer is, there can be a question made for it, generally speaking. So when we look at photos or images or pictures or even stories as well, you can do the same thing. You can ask yourself in your head, think of questions to ask yourself to know more information. And that's where we can use our imaginations just to practice. Yeah, so even if we know the true story or we don't, we can make it up just for the purposes of practicing English. So I guess we've got the 6 of the most common question words, and of course there are many ways or other words you can use to form questions, particularly with how, and there are other forms of questions without question words as well. But just to give us a prompt, to give us an idea of the question words that we can use. Okay, so let's get back here and press that. Okay, so if we're looking at this this picture, let's ask the obvious question: is what's happening? What is happening in this picture? Now I'm using the present. Of course, there I could quite easily use the past, because obviously this is not a live photo. So we can talk about this in the past if we choose to. Say, what was happening? What was happening when this photo was taken? And there you see that combination of past continuous and past simple. Let's get down there. Let's write that. In fact, let's write that. So what was happening when this photo? I didn't spell that well. Let me get that. What was happening when this photo was taken? Because of course we take photos. So let's put that there. So there you see the let's put that up there. Now we have was taken. This is past simple. It's of course a passive construction. We'll say of course. Of course is maybe it's not of course. Maybe you don't know. I do actually hate the use of course, because it's used too much, way too much, I think. So I use it myself, which is a bad example. But anyway, so it's passive, yeah, because the photographer or someone took the photo, but the photo was taken. Yeah, so we're changing the active to passive. So the photographer took the photo in the past, but the photo was taken by the photographer. So we use by to add in the information to for the person or thing that did the verb, if you like. So what was happening when this photo was taken? And of course, we can, if you want to, we can imagine that this is a dream, if you like. So there's no, we can talk about the future. So you say that I had this vision, a premonition, pre, yeah? So pre meaning before. I had a premonition that something was going to happen. I saw this image in my head about what will happen next week or something. And there you can practice the future. So with anything you want, you can practice the three general times: past, present, and future. Since we've got this sentence on the screen, let's use this sentence. And because we're using the question word what to prompt us. So what was happening when this photo was taken? Now I'm making all of this up, yeah? And I'm going to say what was happening. I would say there are two people. I'm not sure to tell just from that hand, but I would say two people were studying or two people were doing some revision for school. Two people were doing, let me get this up here. Two people, let me go down. So we get that borderline away. Okay. Put that. Let's take that. So two. Where we go? Let's see. As that was the indication. So two people were revising, let's say, some school work. Let's do both. When the photographer took the photo, or if you want to go passive, we'll say two people. Of course, we could make this into passive as well, but anyway, two people were revising. You say some schoolwork was being revised. Some schoolwork. When the photo was taken. So there you have the examples of, let's do this, shall we? So, well, that didn't really work, did it? That did not work. but let's see. It's having a nightmare here on it. So here and here. How straight are my lines? Not very straight, I hear you say. So let me try that again. If you make that a bit bigger, there we go. Took, no mistake. There we go. There's our passive. So I'm gonna put that there. Okay. So we have that, but now we need to say a little bit more, and we can add a little bit more. It's always just having such a nightmare with these whiteboards. I spelled revising wrong there, didn't I? Revising. Okay. Just having a horrible time with these whiteboards across all of them. I knew that was going to happen. Okay. I still think they're not as intuitive as they should be. Okay, so we've got two people, and okay, so I think these two people were revising some schoolwork when this photo was taken. Now, of course, I don't know who the two people are, but I'm just going to speculate. So I think I'm just going to guess, because the person on the left has long hair. I'm going to guess that's a girl. The hand doesn't look too old, I have to say. So it could be a brother and sister. And so it looks like a younger brother, perhaps, and the sister is helping the brother with the schoolwork. So I mean, I don't know. You tell me. What do you think? But I think that's they were doing some schoolwork, and there's the older sister helping the younger brother. No, actually, I'm in the wrong thing there. Okay, let me. Okay. Let's get that down. All right. Every time, this is a nightmare. Okay. So the older sister was helping the younger brother. Was help? No, not was help. Was helping the younger brother with his schoolwork, which is nice, isn't it? Because maybe she's at school as well, and she took the time out of her day to help the brother. It could also just be a tutor. Maybe there's someone, maybe he's in primary school and she's in high school, and she's like a friend of the family or something. Yeah, it could be that as well. It could be that as well. Hello, Sonia. How are you? Hope you're doing well today. I'm just looking at a photo. This is said photo, and I'm just thinking about how to describe what's happening in this photo. Just saying that we can, when we're practicing English, we can choose whatever time we want to use. We're using the photo as inspiration, but we can use any particular time. So we can use the past, the present, or the future. So in this particular case, we've decided to use the past. So we started with what was happening when this photo was taken, and I said these two people were revising some schoolwork when the photographer took the photo, or when the photo was taken, depending if we want to use an active or passive sentence. I'm not sure. What do you think, Sonia? What do you think? And then I was speculating, saying that I should put that on the screen when I'm reading that, shouldn't I? And then I was saying maybe the it looks like a male and female, so there's a boy, I think, and then on the right, and then the girl on the left, and I think the girl on the left was an older sister, and so the older sister was helping the younger brother. So there. That's what I think. That's what I think. Just a reminder. So we are here every day, Monday to Friday, that is, Monday to Friday, at 12 o'clock Universal Time. The program is called Have a Tea with Me. I am having a tea. I didn't say what tea I was having. Today I'm having chamomile. It may or may not be of interest, but I'll add it in anyway. I will add it in anyway, just to be complete. And it's a beautiful chamomile tea. I don't think I've ever had a bad chamomile, to be honest. Okay, and so every day at 12 o'clock Universal Time, Monday to Friday, we are on here. We are streaming on YouTube. We are streaming on Facebook and Twitter for this particular program. Other times as well, we're doing streams just on YouTube. You can find us on the YouTube channel. For other times, we're exploring a few different times, and you can see us sort of around the place. So if you follow us on both YouTube or Facebook, you can catch us. And if there is a particular time that you fancy practicing, you can always send us an email, chat on lessonjigsaw@gmail.com, and see if we can arrange a time to chat. As simple as that. Okay. And we're just here for conversation, basically. We're here for conversation, practicing English, gaining confidence, gaining practice with what to say, how to say, and that type of thing. And so at the moment, we are using this photo as inspiration. Okay, so what I notice is, I'm not sure if you can really tell. I think in the book, it appears to be the marker color. I can't really enlarge that, unfortunately. I don't think. But the marker color, or the pen color, looks to be red or like a purple sort of thing. And I think that's been written in pen, but they are doing their exercises. Obviously this photo is posed, but anyway. But they're doing the exercises using pencils. They're both holding pencils. The old classic pencils with the eraser at the top of the pencil. Why are they using a pencil? Let's get back to our question words. So if we want to think about why in our discussion of this photo, why are they using pencils? What do you think? Why are they using pencils? I personally think they're using pencils. And I think this is what most people do, isn't it? When they're using pencils, when they're doing academic work, it's in case they make a mistake. They're using pencils in case they make a mistake. They are using pencils in case they make a mistake. Then they can rub it out easily. So they can rub out the mistake using the eraser or using the rubber. And of course, that's, I guess, the general purpose of a pencil. Pencils are useful useful for making rough, well, it doesn't have to be rough, does it? It could just be a draft. So I'm going to say making drafts. So pencils are useful. Now, I said here are, I should really use the past to be consistent, shouldn't I? So they were using pencils in case they make a mistake. No, in case they made a mistake. Then they could, for this, I'm going to put this in the past, then they could rub it out easily. And then I'm going to keep this next sentence in present simple to say pencils are useful for making drafts. I'm going to use that as a general statement. I'm going to add that. Okay, let's put the photo on, shall we? And that would let's see what Sonia wrote. I just need to cough for a second, so excuse me. Okay, coughing completed, and I'm back. The little boy has been trying to do his housework for an hour, I'm going to guess, so for an hour, but he had serious problems with some activities. Okay, so we're going to stop it here just because we want to re-emphasize, if we remember from yesterday, what's the difference between housework and homework? So housework and homework. So it could be that he was doing housework, but it doesn't really fit in with the picture. So remember, housework are the activities you do around the house. So like when you're talking about the cleaning, the laundry, the whatever, the mopping on the floor, the dusting, hanging out the clothes, the putting things away, cleaning up the rooms to make them orderly, and that sort of thing. So that's the housework. And homework are, generally speaking, are activities set from a, let's say, to be general, a place of learning, or from a teacher or something like that. So, and I say that in general because it could be like from a private tutor, it could be from a school, a college, a university, anything. So that is the homework. Okay. Yes. Okay. So it's good. It's good just to remember that. Okay. So a little boy has been trying to do his homework for an hour, but he had serious problems with some activities. When he returned, I saw that you did the correction there. So when he returned to the school, his teacher asked, well, it's either asks or asked. It depends how you want to tell the story. It depends how you want to tell the story, because, see, the only thing is with this, I'm just reading ahead. So when he returned to the school, his teacher asked him about his work. He told her about the problem, so she guided him in the process of learning. Okay. And so that's a very good thing for the teacher to do. So the only thing, asked. Okay. So what I will say with this is, in the past. Okay. So what I would say with this is, in terms of understanding the story and what's happened, we can understand that. So there's no problem there. The only question comes in is when there's a mix of past and present. So in terms of if we're, correcting grammar, it'll be like his teacher asks him or his teacher asked him. Now you've put asked to correct that. And the only thing is, if you say ask, the person reading it could think it's present, because it is possible that other part of the story was before. So he was doing the homework and then he had problems with it. So then he returned to the school and now he asks his teacher about the work. And he tells her about the problem. So we've gone from the past and now we've got the present view of what's actually happening. So we're describing the story, bringing sort of like a reality into the story. So that is possible. So the person reading it will then be thinking, okay, so let's just sort of follow the story. But then we have he told her. So then we're back in the past. So then we know the rest of it had to be in the past. So as I say, the understanding of the story is fine. So, but when we're picking a few points, we just need to check the consistency of the verbs, so the time of the verbs there. But that's a good story. I wonder what subject it is. I wonder what subject that was. I like you're just looking at that sentence here. Has been trying. He has been trying. So this sounds like a bit of an effort. We're emphasizing that effort that he made. It's very nice. Okay. I wonder how he told the teacher. What did he say to the teacher? Because we say he told her. Another verb. I mean, can you think of any other verbs that we could use? I've got to put that on the screen so you can see that. So he said he told teacher blah 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 blah. It's sort of hard to tell with the delay, so I'm just gonna press on. But he told the teacher. We could also say something like he explained to the teacher the problems he was having or has been having, either one. He explained to the teacher, or he could also say he described the problem to the teacher. He could also say he explained the problem to the teacher, is another way you could say it. So he explained problem to the teacher. And with this as well, we also just have to be aware that problem in terms of schoolwork, problem can be issue, like something that we're not sure about, but particularly in maths as well. The work or the activity that is set up for the student to do, like the question, if you get like when you get like a little story for the question, we also say problem. Yeah, so the teacher might say, I want you to do the first 3 problems. Yeah, so the problem is something that needs to be solved. Yeah, so we solve the problem, and that's the task in a lot of maths situations. And I guess science as well, perhaps, could have that, but perhaps more typically in maths. So I guess in the context here, we understand what the problem is, but just as a note. So he described the problem to the teacher. He explained the problem to the teacher. He explained to the teacher the problems he was having. So we have some flexibility there, how it happened, or what happened there. So we can say told, but there's other ways. So I wonder how could he explain it to the teacher? Or how could he describe the issue, the problem that he was having? I wonder. I'm going to refill my tea. I'll let you think about that for a second, see if you have an answer, and then I will be back in a couple of moments. Okay, tea refilled, and now I'm a happy camper. You could say, to use an expression. To be a happy camper, I am a happy camper. So like someone who goes camping in the forest or something, you're happy when you're doing that. Okay. So if we're thinking about what he might say when he doesn't, or when he's explaining, I guess we could have some things like, now I'm not sure what in different countries, they, what different places say. I know there are some countries where they like to say teacher, 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 and that sort of thing. I don't know, where I grew up, we often use miss, if it's a female. Excuse me, miss, we would say, maybe. Miss, excuse me, miss. Excuse me, miss. Excuse me, miss. It could also be, we often use the name, but we don't use the first name. So for example, if, let's use a color for a name. So we could say, excuse me, miss, I don't get this one, for example. And then maybe, particularly with something like this, maybe he's pointing to the book or something. Or I don't get the second one, the second problem, the second example, the second question, whatever it may be in that context. Excuse me, miss, I don't get that. I don't get it. I don't get this one. So we would often say, let's say Mr., or it could be Mrs., or it could be Miss, or it could be Ms. as well, of course. Let's say, and let's use a color green. Let's choose one. Okay. Green. We can say, excuse me, Mr. Green, I don't get it. Excuse me, Mrs. Green, I don't get it. Excuse me, Miss Green, I don't get it. Excuse me, Mrs. Green, I don't get it. Could be something. We have Miss, and I don't know, maybe it's a little bit different now, but because you would say Miss, but you wouldn't say Mrs. by itself. Miss, you would say by itself, but you wouldn't say Mrs. by itself. And obviously the difference between Miss and Mrs. is the what we use to signify if a woman is married. They change the Miss to Mrs. So I mean that's That's a different thing, I guess. So we'd say miss, or if it's a male, you could say sir. So excuse me, sir, excuse me, miss. You wouldn't say excuse me, mister. So it's basically miss. Miss or sir, you would say if you're not saying the name. Because mister, if you say excuse me, mister, that's more of a, like if you're, particularly like if you're like a young kid, you'll see this in the movies and stuff. Excuse me, mister, you dropped this on the ground. And it's the way of being sort of polite, to interrupt something or interrupt someone to tell them something or alert them to something. And of course, the thing to remember with English as well is that we don't use these with the first name. So let's say it's what's a name that's okay, let's use this, Ray, because Ray can be a male and a female name, although perhaps generally Ray for a female might be R-A-E, but anyway. Okay, so you wouldn't say in English, you wouldn't say Mr. Ray or Mrs. Ray if it's the first name. It would always be Mr. Green, Mrs. Green, Miss Green, Mrs. Green. You wouldn't say Mr. Ray, Mrs. Ray, Ms. Ray, Ms. Ray. If it's the first name, you just say the first name. So that's and that's just in general. Because I get that quite a lot in some countries where they say, excuse me, Mr. Chris. And it's like, you understand it, of course, but that's not how we would say it. Teacher, please, can you help me? I've tried to do this activity of math, but I couldn't solve the activity 2 and 3. Well, okay, absolutely. You could say this. I would say probably though, I guess it depends on what type of school it is. Or what type of class they're in. Because, I don't know, I would probably just say, I've tried to do this activity, but I couldn't solve it. Or I couldn't solve activity 2 and 3. So I've tried to do this activity, but couldn't solve 2 and 3. Because, but then again, if it's like a primary school where you got maybe the one teacher doing a whole bunch of different subjects, then you'll need to clarify which particular subject. So you can say activity of math. It sounds really formal in English for things, unless that's sort of the real sort of name of it, where we use the of. It sounds too formal. So generally you would say, I've tried to do this math activity. I've tried to do this math activity, but couldn't solve 2 and 3. I guess when you say activity again, you can say it, but it's not necessary. And I guess the only other thing, we want to be picky, and I will be picky for this, just to give the feedback. It's understandable, of course, but is 2 and 3 are 2 activities, so it's the plural there. So I couldn't solve activities 2 and 3, or you could say the activities 2 and 3. So if you want to say the, you'd be more specific, but it means the same thing. So you got both options. Okay, this is a nice suggestion. Very polite person with the please. I'm not sure if that would be as common these days in some schools. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe not. but certainly nice to use anyway. So, teacher, please, can you help me? And of course, the teacher says, sure, we can do that. No worries. We can do that. We'd love to help. We would love to help. Okay. So let's change tack, shall we? Let's change tack a little bit. So let me just reset for a second. Just remind everyone here. This is Have a Tea with me, and I am having a tea, a chamomile tea. The channel's name is Lesson Jigsaw. We are here for English language conversation practice. So if you would like to practice your English language speaking skills especially, all you need to do is to click on the link that you see in the chat or in the comments, and you can come on through to the studio and have a chat live. We're here every day, Monday to Friday, 12 o'clock Universal Time. So whatever that time is in your part of the world, but 12 o'clock Universal Time, and you can join us for a conversation. So I'm just talking about different topics, but if there are particular topics that you want to talk about, you just need to shout them out, basically. When I say shout, of course in a gentle way, just writing in the comments or letting me know. And of course, if this is not a good time, you're watching us on the replay, hello. If you would like to chat at another time, we could try and find another time that's mutually agreeable for both of us. Send us an email, chatonlessonjigsaw@gmail.com. If you send us an email, we can, like I say, try and find a time to do a live stream at a different time that's perhaps a little bit more convenient. All we can do is try and see. Okay, let's move to another topic, shall we? Feelings. Okay, it sounds more serious straight away, doesn't it? And you got these three little emojis, I guess: the smiley face, the in-between face, and the sad face. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I think many things can influence how we feel. So what I've written here is there are quite a few factors impacting the way we feel. Quite a few. Maybe at the same time, maybe at different times. How we feel can be a product of everything we allow to affect us. So the product is like the combination of different things. So you can see like different things in the photos here. So how might these things impact the way you feel? So if we let's go clockwise, shall we? Let's just get that down. Let's get that down. Whoops. So let's go clockwise, shall we? Now, shall we is it's like invitation, if you like. So clockwise is meaning in the direction of the clock. Yeah. So basically, so if you say stop from the top or where the 12 is, and then that's going to look different. So I have to go in reverse here. There you go. So sort of that way. So let's go clockwise. And of course, if you wanted the opposite, it would be anti-clockwise. Or you could also say counter-clockwise. Let's just talk about the direction that something goes, particularly if it's circular, or if you can make it like a circle for whatever you're talking about. So it's just the direction. So it's very common, like if there's a group or something and you want to say, let's go this way. You could also just say, let's go clockwise. So we'll go around clockwise, starting from the cartoon, let's say, or the drawing on the right. So how could this character be feeling? What's his feeling, do you think? And what's the thing that's impacting his feeling in this particular case? There's a few there. Well, certainly he's got a smile, doesn't he? He's got a smile. He looks happy. He looks pleased with himself. He looks proud. His feeling is very, very proud. Yeah, okay, I would say so. He's feeling very happy because he passed the exam. How do you know he passed the exam, Sonia? It's a little extra question here. How do you know he passed the exam? What's the indicator to you? How do you know he passed it? I guess the smiley face, but if you look at the piece of paper, how do you know he passed the exam? But yes. Let's put that up. So he has a grin from ear to ear. How big his smile is. He has a grin from ear to ear. Absolutely. See that smile? From ear to ear. Of course, it's an exaggeration, but yes, he has a smile, or he has a grin from ear to ear. And a grin is a type of, well, it's a smile, basically, isn't it? And you can have different types of grins as well. So how do we know that he's passed the exam? The answer is the, okay, great. So that's a little vocabulary check there. Excellent. So the ticks on his exam, it makes me think he did a good job. And I would say so as well. It looks like it's all ticks, isn't it? All ticks. All ticks, no crosses. So that's a fantastic job that that character did in the exam. All right, well done, Sonia. Nice work. What about in the next one? If we continue along clockwise, what about the next one? Now we've got two people here. Absolutely, yes, all ticks. He had all ticks. So there are two people. I guess we can choose both of them, really. How are each one of them feeling? It could be what we imagine. It could be, it could be obvious. Perhaps it's not obvious. Perhaps it's not obvious. It could be a few things. That's why it can be hard to tell sometimes what the situation is until you actually you've got more details. Of course, here we're just speculating for the purposes of practicing English. suppose we could make up a few things with this one, couldn't we? Really? Well, we could with all of them, but there's always a different dynamic, isn't there, in a photo where you've got more than one person. It changes the scenario or the possibilities. Sometimes it adds, sometimes it takes away. I think the guy on the right, I think he's embarrassed. I think he's feeling embarrassed. I'm not sure what you think, but I think he's feeling embarrassed. And the lady is, I'm gonna say, this is me just imagining. I'm gonna say the woman is feeling indifferent. I'm gonna say the woman is feeling indifferent. Let's see what Sonia says. So the couple is talking about their relationship. The young girl told him that she was not in love with him anymore. Oh. Okay, so then I can imagine his feeling would be, well, it could have a few different feelings, couldn't he? He could feel sad. Okay, yes. Yeah, you're in love with someone or with something. So he could be feeling sadness is the obvious one, I guess. Could also be feeling shock or surprise. Maybe he had no idea this was the situation. Could be along those lines. You could be feeling distressed. Let's see if we can put that up. Maybe distressed. Maybe he's feeling distressed. So generally when there's distress, more often than not, people are teary-eyed or crying and that sort of thing. When they've quite often it's a not happy situation, let's say. A not happy situation if they're distressed. So the boy was sad, but he knew that his relationship was bad. Okay, so maybe he was very, what is that word? When the word escapes you. But he's very practical. So he's been very sort of truthful about the situation. Pragmatic, that's the word. He's very pragmatic. Okay, well, I realize it wasn't going as well as it maybe should have, or as you would like. So I understand the relationship is bad. Just as a note as well, I know I think this is a common thing. I'm not sure with how many languages, but I certainly know with Spanish speakers, this is a common thing. So in the first, and so we've got the young girl. That's okay, I would say. But I would just be careful with using girl and boy. I mean, you do hear it and people do say it. But generally speaking, I would tend to say like girl and boy. Say like with the other photo where you could see they were like children or a teenager or something like that. And sort of say like man, woman, lady, that sort of thing for adults. But I mean, there will be plenty of examples where we don't. So, but it's just something just to be careful of, I would say, just be aware of the situation. And if someone could possibly be offended by, like, if you have like a woman and say she's like in her 30s or something, and you call her a girl, they could be offended. Maybe not, yeah, because you also say, I'm just going out for dinner with my girls, yeah, or we're having a girls' weekend away or something like that. Although that's a fixed expression. And we also have things like, oh, that's my girl. And so, like, yes, we do say that sort of thing, but it's different if it's sort of like an expression as such, as to just the general statement. So it's not the biggest thing, but it's just something to keep in mind, the impression or the feeling the person can get from that. I always find it strange. I've seen this in a few different places. You could have like an executive, a CEO of a company, and you get them to do an introduction of themselves, and they say, "Oh, I'm a boy who's 42 years old," and you have to tell them, "Well, okay, yes, but no. Don't go around to places describing yourself as a boy if you're, 42 years old. As in a company or something, it's not the greeting. So you just say I'm 42 years old, but or I'm this position or whatever. But it's just something to be aware of with that. So as I say, like, it's not necessarily a serious thing, and there are lots and lots of exceptions. So it's a bit hard in some ways. But if you see expressions like it's a girls' night out and that sort of stuff, or like you got that, was it No Doubt song, I'm Just a Girl, and that sort of stuff. So you will see, and like the guys are going out with the boys and that sort of thing. So you will see, like, a lot of the time they use that. But when you're talking about the individual, you say, oh, that boy or that girl, and they're an adult, just be aware in case they may take offense or not be happy with that sort of thing. So it's just a awareness of that. I'm going to describe it a little bit differently. I'm going to say I think the guy is embarrassed, and the woman is indifferent. So I think the guy is embarrassed. I find embarrassed is difficult when it's spelled. The guy is embarrassed, and the woman looks or seems indifferent. To me, this is going to be my interpretation. So she's sort of like, okay. It's like she's like pretending to give sympathy. She's not really giving sympathy. I think she's pretending to give sympathy. Because I think he's embarrassed. Why? I don't know. Because he forgot something on the table at home that he was supposed to bring in. It's like, oh, I can't believe I forgot that. How did I forget that? So I think he's embarrassed. And she's indifferent, like, yeah, whatever. That's what people would use, whenever. Okay, so let's move along through these. If we have a look at the next one. So this is the image of a board. So what sort of, I guess we can actually combine two of the photos. So if we ignore the next photo with the woman, and we look at the two photos, because I guess they could be quite similar things, or I'm assuming they could be quite similar things. What sort of feelings could there be with in these sort of situations? So delayed, if something is delayed, and what things can commonly be delayed is basically, well, anything really, but particularly things to do with transport. I guess what we commonly associate with delays, so like trains, buses, planes, ships. There can be delays with lots and lots of things. You could also have delays, like if you've got an appointment, maybe you're going to see, this is the classic, isn't it? You've got a doctor's appointment or a dental appointment, and they say come in at 3:30, and then you're there at 20 past, and then they've still got like 3 or 4 people ahead of you, and there's a delay. And then you can have different feelings. What sort of feelings do you think you could have? Could be similar feelings to what you mentioned about the previous photo, I guess. There could be sadness, could be, because it all depends on the situation, doesn't it? There could be, it could be someone is very happy if it's a delay in some ways, because maybe they're waiting for a friend, and so the friend is going to be late, so they're going to meet the friend to catch the train or something. But since the train is going to be delayed for 10 minutes, the friend has time to get there, so you're both able to catch the train. So it could be, depending on the situation. And I guess similarly, if you're talking about the coffee spilt on the book. Now, in that particular book, it looks like there's nothing written in that book. So there could be frustration, disappointment with that, because maybe you have to buy a new book, or you've written something there's like a one-off, and you're in a hurry, you don't have much time maybe to submit something, and so a lot of disappointment, frustration, maybe even anger, annoyance. You could be annoyed in that sort of a situation as well. Could be annoyed at something outside, or it could also be inside. It's like, because sometimes when you're in a rush and you're trying to do lots of things at the same time, it can be very difficult, and that's when you start like dropping things and doing things, and things don't seem to go smoothly. So it could be something like that. So a feeling of, well, lots of different feelings. Again, like I say, depending on the situation. Then if we go to the other picture, so in between those two, this woman, how is she feeling? She looks to be happy as well. Her feeling could be, because she's carrying something, it looks like a heart-shaped something. It could just be like a paper, or it could be like a lolly or something, maybe. But she definitely looks happy. She could be in love. So I guess with the heart, a feeling of in love. Could be feeling excited, because maybe this is the person of her dreams, giving her an edible heart to munch on. And maybe it's a wonderful flavor. Maybe it's a strawberry flavored lolly, or maybe it's something that maybe she has like a son or a daughter, and they made this at school, and they brought it home, and they said, "Oh, Mummy, this is for you. I love you, Mummy." And then maybe it's just feeling overjoyed with that. Okay, so I guess we're going back back to the other one with this. So the woman told him that she will return to her country this afternoon. Well, not much notice. So the flight to North America was waiting for her. Okay. And I guess we got with that last sentence, that's very nice. I guess we have two types of ways that could be, in the sort of like the poetic way. So it's like, this is her, it's waiting for her, that's her destiny, that's the future, is that she's going on that plane. Or it could be literally waiting for her, going, it's the final call for whoever, the final call for Miss Green for flight blah blah blah. So it could be sort of depending on the thing, but either way, it's a very nice expression. So it works either way. So that's good. So she will, like, nice use of the future there as well. So it's beautiful, isn't it? So it's like we say, we can mix whatever time we want to when we're practicing and making up the stories. Okay, and if we then look at the final one, if we go around, we can see a person, quite obviously, I think, with an umbrella. And so what could be the feeling here? What could be the feeling? So we're going to assume it's raining, but of course people use umbrellas for the rain and the sun. So to give a protection from different elements. What could the feeling? I think there'll certainly be different feelings with and without the umbrella. And like we say, it depends on the context. It could be a feeling of what situation it is. So I know, for me, that if it's raining, for example, and if I'm going to a place or going to work or something, and it's raining, I wouldn't be happy if I got all wet. But if I was coming home, it wouldn't bother me too much. It's like, okay, it's a little bit uncomfortable for a short amount of time, but then I can change, get home, change, have a shower, whatever, dry off. Having a breaking heart, the man says, bye. Is it which photo is this for? I wonder if this is even more in the moment, because the most common thing is to say a broken heart. So having a broken heart, but this is very dramatic the way you've written it, because it's breaking. So it's like in the middle of the breaking of the heart. You're inside that moment. So it's very encompassing, the way you've written that. And the man says, bye. Wow. Like you could maybe be like a story writer with that. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but it works very well, because when we have the ing, it's like inside of something. So that's I really like that. I know maybe that's a bit of a laugh, but that's really so, because you have a broken heart. So the heart is broken, but a breaking heart. That's very good, very good. Now, so looking at that photo of the person, I actually don't really know if it's a guy or a girl, male or female, man or a woman. But I think the person with the umbrella is feeling pretty satisfied. I think there's a degree of satisfaction with that person because they're thinking, I'm glad I checked the weather report this morning and I knew it was going to rain. So I'm very happy that I checked the weather report and I got the umbrella. So I'm all dry and I can go to the next meeting with no worries. I can still be pretty much dry. So I think there's he's pretty satisfied, or the feeling of satisfaction. So that's my take on that. Okay, so let's look at a few questions. So how would you answer these? So what influences how you feel? How do you feel now? How can you get out of a bad mood? I think that could be difficult, couldn't it? To know. If you know, and you can do that consistently, that's a very good thing. But how can you get out of a bad mood? I don't know about you. I think music can be very helpful to bridge the gap between a bad mood and then not necessarily good mood, but a better mood. What do you do when someone hurts your feelings? So maybe it could be from something they say or something they do, or the way something was done. So not necessarily the action, but the way the action was done. They hurt your feelings. And how aware of you of other people's feelings? That's when we talk about empathy, isn't it? Well, I think it is anyway. I'm not a psychologist, right? I think it's certainly when we talk about empathy, is sort of that knowing what other people are feeling, or having an appreciation of what they may be going through. Maybe not know exactly, but an appreciation of what they could be going through. So to be empathetic, or to have empathy. Empathy is the noun. So it's a possibility that, if you have good empathy, you have a good understanding of how other people are feeling. Just to remind you, this is Have a Tea with me every Monday to Friday at 12 o'clock Universal Time. We are here to practice English, particularly English speaking skills. So if you want to practice speaking, practice having a conversation, you will find a link in the comments or in the chat. If you click on that, you can come on through and have a chat, have a conversation. That's up to you. We're going to be here probably for another 5 minutes or so, and then we're going to wrap up for today, or for this show anyway. I might be on a little bit later, experimenting with some different times, seeing who's around. And maybe I can master the whiteboards. That could be the second accomplishment. As much as I try and practice, I'm struggling with some of these whiteboards. But anyway, that's the way she goes. Okay, a lot of stuff. Very nice. I like that. A lot of stuff could affect how I feel. Okay, good. For example, the weather, the relationship with my family or friends. Absolutely. I think everything can affect. I guess this is the the crucial difference, isn't it? It's like what can affect and what does affect could be the difference as well. Because in reality, anything could be, that you see that I'm wearing a black jacket. It's like, I can't believe I've got a black jacket. Maybe, excuse me. So maybe that could affect how someone is, or maybe it's like a symbol, or they see a logo or something. Because it's like we say, isn't it? Like sometimes you hear a song and it brings back a memory, or you see an image or something, or a name, and it brings back a memory or a thought or an idea. And that can affect how we feel. Could be for something happy or for something sad or whatever. So that's I guess that's always the possibility. So it's understanding, I guess, isn't it? Understanding how those feelings can work, and managing them if you can. Okay. Fantastic. That's a great thing. It's always good to feel good, and to feel very good is even better. It's even better. Okay. I feel pretty happy when I see this background. It's not real, of course, but it's just a virtual background. But I love the mixing up of the colors and that sort of stuff. So what does bad mood means? The mood is the general way you are feeling. So often we could say, so like sometimes when you wake up, for some reason you're really angry or annoyed at something. Yeah. So you could say, I woke up in a bad mood. So the feeling that I had, like the general atmosphere, in my mind was a bad mood. And of course, you can also have a good mood, of course. So what puts you in a good mood? So maybe when you see your kids, when the kids go, hey, mummy, how are you today? And the kids are happy and cheerful and everything, that can put you in a good mood, perhaps. So the mood is the general feeling that you have. Sometimes when you, like when someone walks into the room and you just look at them and you go, well, in a bad mood. They just have that look. Or maybe they've got something and they just chuck it in the bin. The way they throw the object in the bin, you can tell they're in a bad mood. So like imagine the kid getting home. Like we saw before, the kid with all the ticks passing the exam. Maybe they come home and they got the exam and they scrunch it up and they throw it away. They're in a bad mood. You can tell straight away. So in these moments, I try to be alone, breathe, and think about the situation or this situation. Okay. I think that's very common, isn't it, for people to suggest breathing. Breathing seems to be the key. Again, I'm no scientist or anything, but I think the thing is the oxygen coming in and circulating in the brain helps you cool down. That's also the reason, I think, where they say, I'm not sure if they say this in every place, but certainly I used to hear when I was growing up, it's like count to 10, and do like the long counts, like 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. So then count to 10, and hopefully you can calm down depending on whatever the situation is. Of course, it's always hard then when you say you try to be alone. That's the key word, isn't it? You try to be alone, because sometimes you want to be alone and you just go, I just want like some peace and quiet for a moment. But then people come and chase you. Are you okay? And blah, blah, blah. So that can always be a different one as well. But I guess that's also where communication is good. You can go to the person and say, look, I don't want to talk right now. Give me a few minutes. Or give me half an hour. Give me a couple of hours. It's a nice expression. Yeah, give me a few hours. Yeah, let me relax for a few hours, or let me have some peace. Give me some peace. And of course, how that goes is also the way that it's said. As we often say, it's not necessarily just the words, it's also the way the words are given, is to how the interpretation is, the impact on the other person. And it depends on what impact you want to give as well, of course. Take that empathy off there. So just a reminder, if you are watching on the replay, if you would like to find a time that is perfect for you to chat about English or practice your speaking and conversation skills, you can certainly do that by sending us an email, chatonlessonjigsaw@gmail.com. You can come through and have a chat, and we can, send us an email. We can see if we can find a time. So let us know like your time zone, like where you are, what you want to talk about, and like the days and times that you find best for you, and then we can see if we can work with that. So certainly, but that's an offer that's open for you. Just looking at that answer there, Sonia, I guess that could possibly answer both questions 3 and 4, I guess, couldn't it? That's not impossible. When somebody hurts me, I think about the problem. If it was my fault, I would try to talk with the person and I would apologize. Okay. That's nice. That's nice. It's hard. It's a very, I know this is certainly in terms of English, or I'm not sure if it's all sort of like the English language countries, if you like. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just some. I'm not 100% sure. But I know certainly a lot of speakers of other languages, where English isn't the first language, they always find it, different things, but like amusing or funny or strange how we apologize so much. So even if it's not our fault, you say, oh, look, I'm really sorry about the delay, or I'm sorry about this, or sorry for everything, and apologizing for everything. And I guess that's a part of politeness as well, when we do that, and when we say sorry too much, and when we apologize. I guess trying to calm down different situations, not to try and not make things worse. So that's a possibility there as well. But yeah, I guess that's a very sensible thing to do. I guess the question is if it, there will often or sometimes be situations where, depending on our perspectives, we can go, it was my fault or it wasn't my fault. And both or all people can think that something was not their fault, or they can think it was someone else's fault. And that can be a difficult one sometimes. I'll put this expression in. So and there's different ways of saying this, and whatever sort of tense and structure you want, but the general idea is the same. So it's to agree to disagree. And sometimes that's the safest way, I find, to get out of a situation where someone just has to say, we're going to have to agree to disagree, and just and move on. And sometimes people accept that, sometimes not. If they don't, that can be a problem, I guess. And then then you have to, I guess, physically move on from that situation to avoid an escalation and to make things getting worse, as happens in between countries, as we see around the world, when things can escalate. And with countries, I guess, it's difficult for countries to agree to disagree. We can certainly say that. Sometimes they do, depending on what's at interest, I guess. Depending on what's at interest and who's in charge of the country, let's say, who has the power, but along those lines. Okay. This is interesting as well, because the first two questions with how, 2 and 3, it's like, how do you feel now? It's like I guess the common answer: I feel good, I feel happy, I feel sad, whatever. So it's the condition that someone or something is in. How can you get out of a bad mood? Is the process. So the other common how. How do you do this? How do you change the oil in a car, for example, the process? So I guess it's another one, isn't it? So how aware are you of other people's feelings? So how something, we're talking about an evaluation of quantity or amount. We often have things like how much, how many, for countable and uncountable. How often, and that sort of thing. So we're again looking for some type of number or degree of something. It doesn't always have to be a number. So how aware, the types of answers you can have. It's hard to put a number. I guess you could say 100% aware, or I'm aware in 50% of situations. Absolutely, you can say that, or around 50%, something like that. But I guess with something like this, where it's hard to put a definite number, it's different from like, how much is the bottle of water? It's like it's a fixed price. But how aware are you of something? It's a bit more difficult to say. So that's where the answer becomes a little bit more vague. And that's where we would probably say something like pretty aware or very aware. Or with some people, I really know how they feel. Other people, they're like a closed book. Like a book, but a closed book. It's difficult for me to read them. I can't read that person. I can't have an idea of how they're feeling. It's difficult for me to tell how they're feeling. Or how aware? Not very aware. I don't really know how people feel. I wait for people to tell me. You can say, I'm very empathetic. I think I have a good understanding of how people are feeling in particular times and that sort of thing. So with a question like with this how, and in this case, or where, when we're looking for a way to express an amount, sometimes we can't express the amount just in a number. You can try and put it into numbers, like we were saying, 100% aware, or 50% of the time, or around 50% of the time. But other times we have to sort of make up the answer to what fits in and what we think is the closest to reality. So as I say, maybe the answer there, just have a little drink. Maybe the answer there is, it depends on the person. If it's a close friend or someone I know, I'm really aware. But if it's someone I don't know, unless it's an obvious display of feeling, it's hard for me to tell. Okay, this is a good answer. Sorry, I have to cough again, excuse me. Okay, I'm back again. So I suppose that the gestures or behavior can give us a clue about other people's feelings. Fantastic. That's a beautiful sentence. That is a beautiful sentence. I love that. That's my sentence of the day. I think that encapsulates a lot, I think. So that's very good, yeah. So I suppose, and that's really good language as well. It's I guess it's something that we don't. It's more like you're talking when you're writing that. It's like, I suppose I'm going to say we don't really write that necessarily. It's more something you say. But I guess these days when we chat and we write text messages, we're more conversational now with because we've had like messenger services and stuff for like a good 10, 15, 20 years almost, and I guess even a little bit longer. So I guess it is more common now to write how we speak, isn't it? But yeah, so I suppose that it's like something when we're speculating, when we're thinking, I suppose the gestures and behavior. Okay, just as a note, I think this is just as a note, yeah. Behavior, the spelling there of behavior with the OU, I noticed that's that would be the British spell, because I think the behavior, I think with sometimes it doesn't always follow the rule, but yeah. So, but behavior in the American spelling is without the U. So with the British spelling, it is with the U. And I only say that as a note. Sometimes I have too much attention to these details, but anyway. But I notice here with the apologize, it's with the Z, and the Z is the American spelling, whereas you have the S, it's the British English spelling. It doesn't make a difference really here in the chat. We're just chatting and that sort of stuff. And it doesn't make too much of a difference. I only say that as a note. For example, when like if you're writing something and it's like if it's like an application for something or something a little bit more formal, always try and run whatever you're sending through a spell check. And just being careful with the language, so checking like British English or American English or whatever, just so it's consistent. It does tend to look a bit more professional, if that's what's necessarily here, not. But like if you're sending a formal application for something, just to be aware of those different spellings and that sort of thing. So just as a note for that. All right, we're gonna go now. Thank you very much for your contribution, Sonia. It's been great for you to join and participate in the show again, and hope to see you next time tomorrow. Okay, okie dokie, got that. All right, so we're going to go. Thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget that so every day, Monday to Friday, 12 o'clock Universal Time, have a tea with me, and we're just here to practice English language conversation and English language speaking in particular. So if you want to come and practice, you are more than welcome to join us, and we will see you at 12 o'clock Universal Time tomorrow. And you may see me online on different streams, I guess, on Facebook and YouTube a little bit later today and tomorrow, just practicing a few different times. Thank you very much, Sonia. Have a great day. I will see you later. Take care, everyone, and best of luck with your English. Don't forget to subscribe and like, all that sort of stuff. See you later. Bye.